That's okay. Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone doing today? I am super excited. We have Lila here today, and she is going to be talking about the powerful dynamic of posture. My mom would love this topic. She taught me good posture and I taught my son good posture. So I'm sure we're going to be diving deep into all the goodness of that. Thank you so much for those of you that are already jumping on live. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Sabrina Victoria. I am the host here at Her Talk Show. Listen, if you have not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. What are you waiting for? These podcasts are guaranteed to have you thinking differently about life and business. Let's jump right in.
Get ready, because today's guest is about to change the way you view your world. This is Her Talk Show, hosted by Sabrina Victoria.
If you are listening live, welcome. And if you're listening on the replay, make sure you hashtag replay wherever you're at so we can send you some love in the comments. We have had over 600 women grace this stage. We are adding another one to the list today. As a speaker, coach, and CEO of the Riverstone Movement School, Lila helps high performers, business owners, and organizational leaders own their worth and shift the physical component of their life. She integrates mindfulness and movement. Yes, girl, into their mental mastery journey so her clients reach a greater potential faster without burning out. She has personally mentored leaders on all 7 continents. Girl, that's a feat.
Thank you.
All 7 continents.
Yeah. In 2020, I had a client in Antarctica.
And that closed the door? That was 7?
That was it. Yeah. I knew she was going to Antarctica, and I reached out to her. I said, hey, I need you to pay me some money while you're there.
I love that. Good for you. You want to know a secret?
Huh. What'd you say?
I've never been outside the U.S.
That's okay. I've been Canada, Mexico, and then the Cayman Islands, but I've been 49 of the 50 states. So a lot of America. I've never been to Europe or a lot, but I've mentored people on all the continents, just not physically been there, thanks to the internet, basically.
I love that. That is so exciting. Well, listen, I'm super excited to jump in, and I know that the dynamic of which you teach is so much more than our title here. So I'm super excited to kind of start there and then kind of go down some rabbit holes as far as all the goodness that you teach. So you're bringing to us the power of dynamic posture, not just posture.
Yep.
So what does this mean? Tell us.
Okay. So I'll start with the example with the woman in Antarctica. So she was a colleague of mine. She has a branding and marketing business, and she was going to Antarctica with her husband on a trip. And she hired me when she was there. She arrived, we did a Zoom call, and what I taught her was dynamic posture. What is dynamic posture? It's posture and movement. So a lot of people learn static posture. And static posture is this idea of stand up straight.
Yeah, that's what I think of.
Shoulders back, tail tucked. But what dynamic posture is, it's posture and movement, which is actually stand up curvy. It's a much more embraces the natural curvatures of the body, because there's actually nothing in the body that's a straight line. It's all curves and spirals. That's the way the human body is created and formed. And then we often are taught maybe how to stand in posture, but not in movement. So I taught my client in Antarctica, for example, how to walk as she was going through Antarctica. And what she said afterwards was that she was actually able to take more in, because I taught her how to keep her eyes up and how to be more bouncy and more curvy and lighter on her feet. So I teach people how to walk, sit, stand, and move through space in a curvy way. And I work, instead of with the muscles, I work with the fascia, the connective tissue. It's like a, you know how you have a sweater and you pull on one string of the sweater and it messes up another part of the sweater? Well, that's like the fascia is a network of connective tissue that holds the body together. It's actually The muscles and bones don't hold us up. It's the fascia, the connective tissue. And so I have a mindful movement system called Riverstone movement, and it teaches people dynamic posture. And also I teach these 10 to 15 minute movement series to learn the body, work with the body, kind of a workout. But what I love about what I've created is that I wanted to make body movement and body awareness much more accessible. So we walk, move through space, cook at the kitchen, go to the bathroom, go to the car. We do all of that stuff, sit at the computer. We do all that stuff so many more hours of the day than exercise.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And so when we age, we tend to get compressed and tight. And so what the dynamic posture does is it teaches you how to walk, sit, move through space in a way where you stay open and light and bouncy. So I don't believe we have to age and feel bad. And it's the day-to-day operations, like how we pick up our keys if we drop them from our hand on the floor. That's usually something like somebody will injure themselves by some little thing, like they shut the door wrong, they got up wrong, and then their back hurts. It's usually not a working out thing. And so
That's funny because
yeah.
my fiance was just talking about that. My fiance is super active. He does all the things that you could possibly think of. He's like a 40-year-old, 20-year-old. And he's just now talking about that. Like he'll just do something silly, like, get out of bed, and not that silly, but something just minute comparatively.
Yeah.
And he'll be like, "Ah." Oh my God. He's like,
Yeah.
"It's never when I'm doing something cool. It's always when I'm doing something that's just half ridiculous."
Yep.
Where he's starting to get that. That's interesting. When you talk about body awareness, can you
Mhm.
explain that a little bit more? Because myself included, I don't know if we exactly what does it mean to be aware of our body?
Yep. So I love this topic. This is actually how I got into all this years ago. I used to be in academia. I left it all because I found this way of movement. It's kind of like yoga, but different. It's not like the regular yoga you're going to see out there. What I learned was most of us, especially, I'm a former academic and an intellectual, heady. Most people are thinkers. Like there's even a lot of people doing mindset work, but they're still not, the mind isn't in the brain. It's not thinking. The mind is actually in the pinky toe. It's in the fingers. It's in the back of your heart. Like it's all over. It's in the booty. And so body awareness is, can you bring your mind into your whole body all at one time and then know what it's doing all the time? And can you move through space feeling your entire body? Most people are asleep from the neck down unless they're working out maybe or doing something like that. But like, for example, your fiance, it's like the only reason he's really feeling those little twinges is because his mind is only in the head. It's not thinking about, oh, what is my rib cage doing? What is my heels of my feet doing? So body awareness is complete mindfulness in every single part of your body at all times. And what I'll tell you, it's not easy at first. It's like there's two things. One, it just takes time to practice and start to feel different parts of the body. Also, it takes time for the neuro pathways to form. So you have to actually think about your pinky toe to feel it. Otherwise, you're probably not feeling it. But if you practice it over time, their neural pathways will build little electrical links, and then you'll always feel your pinky toe. And so this is how little kids move. Little kids can feel, little babies, they can feel everything. And then we lose it over time. We live in a time and in a society where intellectualism, thinking is valued, but body's not valued. It's just, if it was, there wouldn't be so many people unhealthy. And so what's neat about it from a standpoint of like personal development, it's that the more time you spend with your full self, your whole body, you're aware, you can feel everything. You know where your pinky toe is, you know where your booty is, you know where your rib cage is, all the pieces and parts. The more time you spend with yourself, the more you value yourself. The more you value yourself, the more others value you.
Mm.
It's fascinating. And it's one of those things you have to experience it to understand somewhat. It makes sense. But really, like I walk into a room, I don't care if it's 2 people or 200 people, the entire room changes. And the
Mm.
only reason is because I'm with myself fully,
Mm.
you know? And from a standpoint of manifestation, so I'm sure there's plenty of people who watch your show who understand like or heard of the law of attraction or manifestation, or they want to create something for themselves in their lives. And the piece that's missing for most people in manifesting or bringing forward their vision faster is the feeling state. It's the body. So we can think ourselves, oh, I want a beach house, for example. But if you're only thinking about the beach house and not feeling the beach house, it takes a lot longer and maybe doesn't ever come. But if you feel the feelings of what it's like to be in the beach house, it'll come like super quick. And so I love working with, like high achievers and intellectuals and people who are, high performers, because if I can bridge their really smarty pants ways and then get them to bridge that with the body awareness piece, they always create more in their life faster.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
That is fascinating. I love this idea of the feeling state. I can actually really conceptualize that. And I feel as if for the average person listening, by the way, we have a ton of people watching live right now. Thank you so much for being here, for hanging out. For those of you watching on the replay, make sure you hashtag replay wherever you're at so we can send you some love. But this might seem a little overwhelming. How does somebody start? Like, what's the first couple of steps? Like, should we just be walking around trying to feel our pinky all the time? What's like a first step that somebody who's like open to this should be doing?
That's a great question. So you are correct. It is actually quite overwhelming in the beginning. So that's why I've created a system, something super simple to remember. I've created a system where it's 7 primary body parts. But to not go too deep into 7, I'll give you just the first 3.
Okay.
So the first 3 body parts you want to start feeling are 3 H's: your heart, your hips, and your head.
I'm feeling the hips area.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So I'll give you some tips on the heart and then the hips and then the head.
Let's spend a lot of time in the hips.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I need to open. Okay, go ahead. We're ready.
So everybody spends different parts of their day in different parts of their body. And so some people are more hips, some people more head, some people, maybe more heart. But what we want is we want it all awake at the same time and moving in synchronicity together. So with the heart, what you can think of, number 1 is it's the rib cage. Most people don't think about their rib cage. People are told to like take a deep breath. What I say is go wide. If you go wide with your rib cage, your heart area, breathe wide, live wide, push on the inside with your mind wide. In the beginning, it's kind of hard, but it takes time. But the more you bring your mind there, where our attention goes, energy flows. So so we go wide. If you go wide, you'll get taller. All of my clients get taller, no matter what age they are. I have a client who's 63 who has gotten taller because she's been working with me for about 6.5 years.
Wow.
She's gotten taller and she's 63. I mean, it's amazing, unreal. So I've grown a half an inch. I was the same size, same height since 7th grade. And then I
Wow.
started practicing this and I grew a half an inch as I'm
Wow.
aging. Unreal.
Wow.
So, heart wide, heart wide, heart wide. Be big on the inside. And that awareness takes compression off the spine. So instead of trying to stand up straight, you're like pulling yourself kind of like a Chinese finger cuff.
I can see
Instead,
that.
yeah, instead go wide with the heart, side to side. We tend to lose lateral movement as we age. So the more you go side, wide and side to side, the more mobility you have. So that's the
Mm.
first piece with the heart. Heart wide, heart wide, heart wide. The other piece is the hips. So the way that I like to describe the hips, the second H, is make sure you can wag your tail. If your knees are bent and you can wag your tail like a happy little dog, you're pretty good. Now there's more details to it I could go into if you were to, learn the whole system. But that's the general idea is when you can wag your tail, your pelvic floor is open, your mind thinks you're happy. You're just like an animal. Animals are joyful when their tail's up and they're scared when their tail's down. And with people sitting, for example, at computers all day long, their tail is tucked under. And there's no wonder they get like stressed and anxiety. Their body, their form dictates function. So the body needs to be open. And if you can wag your tail, you're pretty good. And then the last piece, so heart wide, hips wagging, and then head. The head tends in this modern day society tends to float forward on the neck. So you can see a lot of the young people right now with the cell phones and everything,
Mhm.
they're like crunched over with the head.
Yep.
So the way to get around that is one of the best tips with your head is let your eyes go out onto the horizon more often. Eyes on the horizon. That'll lift your head. It'll open even the heart area, and it'll also give you that good feeling. You know that feeling when you look out of the ocean or the sunset or the mountains or a beautiful prairie? Like that's the feeling state that eyes on the horizon will give you.
Mm.
So heart wide, hips wagging, and head lifted. So that the
Love
eyes,
that.
yeah.
Wow. Okay. We can conceptualize that. Sweet and simple.
Yep.
One of the things that I'm remembering as you are talking, which I am cognizant of more now, I had sat down with somebody who, I don't know what she was, but she was talking about sitting at the computer and how important it is to like pull your buttocks out from under you. Because like what you said, where we're sitting, where tail is tucked under. So I do that thing now when I sit where I pull like my butt out from under
Mm,
me, and it has helped tremendously. Like I just do that now.
good.
But I kinda forgot that
Yeah.
that's like a new trait that I did adapt to your point as far as that was her main thing that she was saying is an issue with people who sit at the computer all day.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll give you a little added tip with that. So you
Okay.
pull your booty out and
Yeah.
back, so tails back. You can actually sit on your legs, your thighs, your hamstrings. So instead of sitting on the butt, we sit on the legs more so, which requires the heart to be forward in front of the hips. So a lot of times we have these
Oh.
Mhm.
Okay, wait. So instead of leaning forward on my hips,
Yeah, so
leaning forward on the back of my thighs,
even the thighs, like even the whole thigh, the hamstring area sitting there. So a
Ooh.
lot of times we have these chairs where we lean back on,
Yeah, that's
but
what I'm
that's a
doing right now.
yeah, it's a static position and the mind doesn't really know that you're not laying down and relaxing. So if you lean forward, you actually build your back muscles. You have to keep your head up more. And that's actually what dynamic posture is. It's if you think about if you were to jump forward or walk forward, the heart has to go forward in front of the
Mm,
hips. And so we can actually have a dynamic posture while sitting. I don't sit on a chair that has a back typically because I want to maintain my strength in my back and I want to make my brain understand that I'm wide awake and alert. But if I'm sitting with the tail tucked,
Yeah.
leaning back, it's more like a relaxation phase. It's not like it's wrong, but it's not the most alert, and our cognition isn't as strong when our body's in a relaxed kind of like a recliner state.
Totally. Yeah, and I find that even when I start to get midday, my lull is usually between like 3 or 1 and 3 is when I have like my lull in energy. I'm a total morning person. And then I can also work till the wee hours, but between like 1 and 3, I'm just like not having it. And I have found that, if I all of a sudden, like I adjust myself, sit up straight and pull my booty forward or back, all of a sudden a burst of energy just from that. And I'm not drinking or eating anything, just from realigning myself. And now I know another way and an added, which is awesome. I've
It's
never even
huge.
thought to sit forward.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, most of my clients, that's like one of the number one things they'll say in the beginning is they no longer have the afternoon slump
Yeah.
because mhm. There's monks who will actually meditate where they tuck their chin and they're able to slow down their heart rate to like 1 or 2 beats per minute.
Oh my.
Just yeah, just by taking that form. And
Absolutely.
so we wanna take the opposite. We wanna open that throat, lift our head, lift our heart. And what's cool about it is, like, not only do you feel good, but everybody that you connect with, everybody you talk to, they feel good. We attune to each other kinda like tuning forks, and so we show up brighter for our family and our friends and our clients and everybody that's, we're connected to. They just feel lit up because we're lit up.
Yeah. So I want to ask, we're talking about, for those of you that are just jumping on, I see a few of you jumped on, heart, hips, and head is what we were just talking about as far as a few steps in how to help us dip our toe into dynamic posture without feeling super overwhelmed. I would love for you to talk a little bit about stress. I know you have to have
Mm,
something for stress. For those of us that say, we hold all of our stress in our shoulders. Um, what do you have? What can we do to relieve some of where we put our stress or our anger in our body?
yeah. This is my jam. I love that you asked. Okay. So first, yes, the issues are in the tissues. But if you're more dynamic, you can wring out those issues and get rid of them. That's the first thing. But here's the second piece. I have a feeling you've never learned this before, and almost everybody that's listening, if not everybody, has never learned this before.
Okay.
So I'm going to tell you from a biological standpoint how stress actually works in the body. So most people are doing like stress management, stress recovery kind of stuff. You can't really manage stress. Stress is a chemical reaction in the body. So I'll tell you what it is. It's basically adrenaline, cortisol, and other chemicals. There's a lot of people like anti-cortisol right now, but cortisol is actually needed to repair the cells of the body after adrenaline is released. So this is like huge. I'm going to kind of talk fast. If you want me to stop, let me know. So there's a 10-second window between the time we're triggered. It could be triggered by something outside of us, like a loud noise, a person, a smell, or it could be triggered by our own thinking. We start thinking about something that like feels stressful. So there's a trigger, okay? Then there's a 10-second window where the heart rate goes up, the adrenal glands release adrenaline, and then everything thereafter, the chemicals thereafter. Cortisol comes, like the 3 a.m. wake up. If you're waking up every night at 3 a.m., 2, 3 a.m., it's a cortisol release. That's all it is. It's not like some people might have a natural cycle like that, but most people, it's a cortisol release. That's when cortisol releases in the middle of the night. And so if you know what to do, which is something I teach, if you know what to do in that 10-second window, you can actually prevent the body from releasing the adrenaline. So the heart rate will go up. One thing you could do, for example, is a gross motor movement, big movement with the arms wide and a big smile and a big soft in the belly.
In the middle of the night, do this?
No. Great question. So this is actually earlier in the day.
Okay. There's
a trigger. Somebody's like, women especially get stressed about time. They're like, I don't have enough time to do something. And they'll get all anxious, or their husband or their child or their friend or their client or colleague, something will happen and they'll get stressed. And then all of a sudden the heart rate goes up, the body releases adrenaline, the fight or flight chemical. In that 10-second window, so we have to figure out what triggers us. One, whatever triggers us, we need to notice the trigger. In the 10-second window, do something. There's a lot of tools. This is called the pressure-free method. One of my best friends created it from this scientific research. Basically, we can prevent stress in our bodies. We don't have to have it. But most people have normalized stress, and so they're trying to manage it. But you can't really manage it. Once it's in the body, it's in the body. So learning in that 10-second window, what to do. One thing is open the arms, a smile, because you can't be in fight or flight running from a tiger and smiling at the same time.
Wow. Okay.
And then this is another piece that I think is really important for your community, Sabrina, is in the male's body, the man's body, it takes up to 9 hours to dissipate these chemicals, the stress chemicals, 9 hours. In the woman's body, up to 24. So you know how the quintessential story, stress chemicals, adrenaline, cortisol, and all that. So you know how there's like that quintessential story, man, woman get in fight, man over it, woman not?
Yeah.
It's biochemical. It's not that women are crazy. It's literally biology. And so we can actually, if we know that we deserve to feel good and be without stress, there is a way out. Most people just don't know how. They're trying to manage it with massages and pharmaceuticals or like meditation or whatever, but none of that stuff is actually going to keep the chemicals from releasing in the body.
I have so much to say, but keep going.
I mean, that's pretty much, that's pretty much the gist of it, is that, this is a really innovative system. I learned this back in 2017. It took me actually 6 months to have my first pressure-free day, which means my first full 24 hours without stress chemicals in my body. No adrenaline, no cortisol, no glucocorticoids, all of that. And some people can do it in 3 days, 3 weeks. It took me 6 months because I was a very adrenalized person. I didn't realize it. I just thought I was like lots of energy and high performer. But the truth is, now that I don't have stress chemicals in my body, I have more hours in my day. I have a higher level of performance, and I'm much more peaceful. It's like this calm excitement instead of like adrenalized excitement. And women in particular, I'll give you this idea, like, there's this idea that there's a glass ceiling for women, but I believe that part of that is that they're adrenalized and they're stressed and they're creating their own glass ceiling. Like, you can't trust a person who's under stress. And so they're keeping themselves down by having all these like stress issues, but there's a way out. You can learn in the 10-second window what to do. And there's about 40 tools you can use. There's just depending on the person. I coach people on this, and I coach communities about this and speak about this. But, the body is a very special, unique creation. And if you understand how it works, then you actually have more control. I have the control of my body. Like, nothing can stress me out unless I choose. So, which is really interesting. We're in a society where stress has been normalized, and people are, there's a lot of people on medications, and there's no judgment. I just say, I just know the stats, but they just don't understand how the body works. And once you know, then you have choice, and then you can control your stress and your emotions, your sleep, your weight. A lot of people are overweight because of cortisol release. They'll eat right, exercise, and still can't lose weight. It's stress. It's cortisol. So, yeah. I love that you asked that question, Sabrina. I appreciate it. I really care about women and men too, but this is affecting women at a much bigger level.
Yeah, definitely very interesting. So good to know that there's a way out of that. Yeah, all good stuff. I would love for you, obviously, we have a ton of people that are resonating with all the goodness that you are sharing here. Obviously, we're having a really good idea. We have a really good idea of what exactly you teach and what you do. But could you do me a favor and let us know what exactly you do and who should be reaching out to you? Who do you help?
Yep. So my clients tend to be high performers, entrepreneurs, corporate level execs, women who want to do more, create more in their life, but their body piece is getting in the way. They might be smart, they might know everything, but something's getting in the way, and they're not happy. They're not performing at the level they want to. So I work with a lot of, like I said, entrepreneurs, organizational leaders, corporate execs, and I can help them, one, not be in stress, two, feel good in their body. And what that does is it helps them be happier and create more in their life, at whatever level that is, basically, whether they want to make more money, whether they want to build a team, be happier with their family relationships, for example, all of that stuff. I bring the body, I coach people around the body piece. Most of them are very smart, intellectual, heady, smarty pants women.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Where can people find you on social media, and what is your website?
Yep. So you can find me at Lila Veronica, Lila, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on Instagram and YouTube as well. I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn mostly. I create content on those two platforms, but I'm on all the platforms, Lila Veronica. And then you can find me at the lilaveronica.com.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Well, this has been delightful. I love it when I learn tidbits that will help me throughout my life. And the cool thing about this, which I've never really even heard of, is somebody who teaches something like this. I mean, I've heard of movement coaches, but somebody who is really specializing in your posture and getting taller. That's awesome. I mean, that's cool. And even if it wasn't necessarily getting taller, but even just staying the same, because we all know, I mean, it's like common knowledge that we start to shrink as we age. So this is amazing information.
Yeah. We don't have to, which is cool.
Yeah. This has been great. For those of you listening live, thank you for being here. Lila can be found predominantly on Facebook and LinkedIn. Her website is in a clickable link in the description below, wherever you are watching us at. Any closing thoughts as we wrap up?
You deserve to feel good. I would say increasing your body awareness is really increasing your deserving level.
Absolutely. Well, this has been great. Thank you for another incredible episode of Her Talk Show. Thank you for sharing your wisdom,
Thank you, Sabrina.
your insight. I appreciate that. To our dedicated listeners, thank you for staying with us here until the very end. I appreciate you. Remember to follow, like, and share. Once again, I am your host here, Sabrina Victoria, and I invite you to join our amazing community, Her Nation. where we continue to have uplifting conversations just like this to help you every step of the way. Until next